So we just booked a family holiday, which cost just over £8,000. Whereas back then, all I could think of was saving £1,000 to go on a boys' holiday to Malia. Do you see what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just shows you, you are your network.
Okay, right. Hello and welcome to another Serious About Success podcast. I've got my main man with me today. He goes by the name of Mr. Stas Prokofiev. How you doing, Stas?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jay.
Okay, cool. Well, look, thank you very much for doing the podcast with me today, all right? Let's jump straight into it, my friend, yeah? Obviously, I've known you for quite some time, yeah? I've watched your whole journey, yeah, from literally start to where you are now. Give us an idea, Stas. How do you go from literally working in a car park to making over 7 figures, generating literally hundreds of thousands of pounds every single month? What's the secret?
Wow, straight in at the deep end.
Straight in, my friend.
Yeah, listen, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And it's how do you do it? What's the secret? Personally, I think the secret is that there is no secret. It's, all along when I was trying to get into business and, entrepreneurship, I always felt that I was missing some secret sauce, some key ingredient, that secret that you're maybe referring to. Yeah. And having now gone through the path, I've realized that the secret lies within you all along. It lies inside you. And it's not the buttons that you press or the products or services that you sell, it's the person that you become through the journey. And the quicker that you become the person that is capable of making, millions of pounds a year, the quicker you're going to get there. You first become that person in your mind. And I know it probably sounds so cliche and everyone talks about mindset, but when you really truly get it, and I'll tell you when I really truly understood this is when I started to watch Jim Rohn. Obviously, Jim Rohn, and and the first line was, it sticks to me like it was yesterday. It was, you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. And that line was like, wow. And then he said, but the other side of the coin reads, unless you stay how you are, you'll always have what you've got. So back in the car park days, I wanted my life to change. My income to change, my lifestyle to change, but I didn't want to change. I wanted to remain exactly the same. I wanted to hang out with the same people, not educate myself, get drunk on weekends, have hangovers, eat, bad food. But I wanted somehow miraculously my life to change because I'm doing 10, 20% of what is required. So really, I don't think there is a secret. I think it's just the secret's all inside you all along. You need to look at, okay, what are my habits and traits now versus someone who is already at the level I want to be? What are they doing? How do they live their life? What do they read? What do they study? What do they eat? How do they spend their time? That's a big one. So I'll tell you a story. When I used to work in a car park and you jump into lots of cars and you move them around the compound. And what I found was, all the nice cars, like the really high-end cars, the Porsches, Ferraris, Bentleys, and everything else, I'd get in them, and there was one of two things on. It was either some kind of educational program that people were listening to, or classical music. And I never could understand that. I was like, Kiss 100, yeah, let me pump some tunes, right? And now I get it. Because now, I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to Capital Radio or any radio station. It's educational. It's, something that's going to help me grow. And classical music is I personally love it. It helps me kind of relax and
check you out, man. I thought you like some street hip hop straight from the hood. No, like some straight, No,
don't get me wrong. I like all types of music. I do, and I have my moments where I do get a bit.
You gotta get some DMX, man. You know what I mean? Where the hood at? No,
100%. I have those moments, but I do really like classical music. I really like piano. Yeah, absolutely. So I could never understand that, back then, but now I get it. So I think the secret is work on and again, this comes from Jim Rohn, he said, learn to work on yourself more than you do on your job.
So, look, I've got a favourite phrase that I use a lot at Serious About Success, and that is who you need to become. Is that something that you can resonate with?
100%.
Yeah?
100%.
So you feel that you've become it.
Yeah.
You know, you become the person that, instead of focusing on making money, you've now become the person that can make money. So can you see a classic mistake with people that are out there that are in a situation? Obviously, we've been out here for a while. You know, people that are, say, for example, wanting to have the sort of success of what you have been able to accomplish, over a period of time, which is pretty much a relatively short period of time, to be honest with you. Where do you see that lots of people going wrong?
I think exactly what you just said. They either do not know who they need to become, are not ready to become that person, or just don't want to become that person. They have no real reason to. They have no real reason to become a better version of themselves. They're just comfortable, because what kind of triggered this path for me was I used to work in a car park, and I'd probably still be there now if I wasn't made redundant, because it was so comfortable. It was a great little job, lovely people, and it was fun. It was comfortable, and I dabbled a bit on the side and did a bit of digital marketing and this, that, and the other. But, that gave me a reason. So I think the classic mistake people make is they, don't know who they need to become. They don't need to become it, or they just don't want to. And many people just don't have a reason to be successful. Reasons come first, answers come second.
So like a real strong reason why.
Absolutely.
Yeah? All right. So what's been your reason why?
For me, my family. Because when I got made redundant, my daughter's 3 months old. My wife's not working. She's on maternity. And 2 or 3 months later, she gets made redundant. So all of a sudden, everything's on my shoulders. I don't have a choice. I went through a lot of stress and anxiety and worry and doubt, and there's the world's pressure on my shoulders, but somehow got through it. I think by having the right network of people around me, and having the really, really strong reason why. Because I heard a good phrase the other day, and somebody said, "You are where you're meant to be right now, and the reason you're there is because deep down inside you're satisfied with where you are, and until you find that reason, you probably won't do it." That's why we hear like many stories about people who, they have a health scare. They go to the doctor says, "Look, you got, 2 months to live," and they drastically transform their life. Well, why is that? Because they've been given a reason. But human beings are, I think, lazy by nature. Unless we are given a reason to do something, we're never going to do it. It takes, and that's another thing we'll come on to, I'm sure, it takes tremendous amount of discipline to do the stuff you don't want to do when you don't want to do it, and delayed gratification.
Okay, so would you say that in your journey then, has it just been, look, the moment you decided to get serious, that was it? Obviously I remember you in the early days, obviously I've known you for a long time. And I remember you in the early days, and, you used to dip in and out a little bit. Yeah. You used to come and do some of our training,
Yep.
So you'd be there and then you don't see you for like, you go missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
you come back, I'm like, "That's where you been?" It's like, yeah, Jay, the thing is, the thing is, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that journey like for you then, in terms of, I know it wasn't all plain sailing, but what was going on then? Like dipping in, dipping out? Because again, look, loads of people that are maybe even watching this podcast right now, they've tried different things to start generating income, yeah? However, that dipping in, dipping out, is obviously not always the ideal scenario, the ideal solution. So what was that for you? Where was you at then? What was your mind like? Dipping in and out, 1 minute here, next minute there, next minute there. And what was the real turning point that really then made you decide to get really serious?
Yeah, I think the whole point where I was in and out is, I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I kind of came and went when it suited me. So yeah. And if you put part-time effort in and part-time presence, you can't possibly expect to get anything, achieve anything.
But where was your mindset? So to be like, because obviously you wanted it. So them days that you were still working, you hadn't been made redundant just yet. So you're still working, and you did want it, but again, that commitment wasn't quite there. So where was your mind at that point?
I think I wanted it a little bit, but not enough. I didn't want it enough. That was the truth. I didn't want it enough. And back then, like you said, I still had a salary every month, which is the safety net. And as long as you have a safety net and a plan B, it's very, very natural and humane to always fall back onto the safety net. So it's like, I'm working 5 days a week, and then at the weekends you've got to spend, attending seminars and learning and networking and trying to run a business, or in the evenings, And it's like, yeah, you do it so much, but then it's like, oh, I'm tired. I want to break. Oh, my friends, oh, do you want to go out, Stas? Oh, yeah, I want to go out. So my mindset was, I just wasn't serious. Like I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I was serious when I wanted to be serious, and that was it. Which was like maybe 30 to 50% of the time, and the other 50% of the time was just spent doing whatever, leisuring around. I just wasn't serious. That's the thing, and I think the reason I wasn't serious is because I knew I had the safety net. So if I make zero with my business, well, at least I've given it a shot. It's all right. I gave it a go. Probably like many other people. Oh well, I tried, but did I really try, or did I just tick a box? Because I think there's a big thing. I compare it motion to action. Motion is when you are attending everything and you're studying everything and you're doing everything, but you're not taking action. You're just in motion at that stage. Going to seminars isn't going to get you the result. Reading a book isn't going to get you the result itself. It's when you implement what you have learned. But what happens is, and there's like a learning phase, and then there's an implementation stage. Many people, and I was there, I got stuck in the learning phase, and I thought just because I was watching all this stuff, yeah, I'm making progress. But no, I'm still learning. But then you got to apply what you learn. You can read a book about how to swim, but you're never going to learn to swim unless you jump in the pool. So you need to hurry up and jump in the pool.
I get you. So you've mentioned about surrounding yourself with the right people. What benefit has that done for you?
Life changing, because well, I'll give you a classic example, right? So we just booked a family holiday, which cost just over £8,000, whereas back then, all I could think of was saving £1,000 to go on a boys' holiday to Malia. Do you see what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. But it just shows you, you are your network. So your network is your net worth. Who was my network then? Friday, Saturday night, let's all go out, let's have a drink, let's party, let's go on a boys' holiday. And that was kind of it. And as long as, I was on the same level, give or take, as my peers, I'm fine with that. But the minute you then step into a network where, wow, okay, these guys are making 10 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month. They're driving all the cars that I'm parking at the car park. They own them. I'm like, the poorest person, mentally, physically, and on a wealth space. Wow, I've got to step up here. It forces you to step up. So I played ice hockey for a long time, as you know, and I played in the second highest league in this country, anyway, in the UK. And I remember when I was first kind of coming up, and I was playing for the reserve. You could call it the reserve team, but then I got drafted into the first team. And I was the worst player there, by far. So what does that do? It forces you to step up. But then a month goes by, and all of a sudden, I was like, I'm not that far behind the rest of the main squad. 2 months go by. Well, okay, this guy can actually make a difference. 3 months go by. Right, he looks like a first team player now. So then when I step back into the reserve team, I'm head and shoulders above everyone. It doesn't mean you got to cut your network off straight away and do the rest of it. Like I'm still friends with everyone, but having the network of people who are more successful than you on the scoreboard, in business, from the mindset point of view, is everything, because it forces you to raise your game. Like I've always said, if you want a beach body and you struggle to train or whatever, let me go and put you in LA Muscle Beach for 6 months. I guarantee you will come out looking like some of the people that you see on there. Why? Because of your environment. Because if everyone around you's got a six-pack and you don't have a six-pack, it's only a matter of time before you become like a person of your environment. So having that network is key. Like you always used to say, by default, you will become successful just by hanging around those people. And, sure enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, we used to speak about that a lot, right? That by default, you'll become successful. And this is something that, I guess, if you're on your journey, if you're just, up and coming, it's not always, we don't always see it. We can't always see it like, okay, the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. However, if you're in a situation where it's like, all right, that's fine for me and you to say, what if you don't know no one? What do you do? What would you tell somebody that they want to surround themselves with the right people? They're hearing what it is that we're saying right now, but they're living in a location where they don't know anyone. They're struggling. What do you say about that?
Yeah, it's a good point. So what I would say is, and I got in that situation, as you probably remember, I ran out of money. I had no money. Yes, you can, there's two ways you can get into a network. You can either pay to play by investing, or the second option is what value can you bring to that network? And I've done both, like back in the early days, I paid to play, then I ran out of money. So then it's like, look, I'm here. I want to bring value. Tell me what I can do to help you. I don't care if it's sweeping the carpets, cleaning, making you tea, doing the food run, carrying the equipment. Just tell me what I can, and that's value. Mm-hmm. So you need to come to a network with one of those two things. You either pay to play, or you come with, if you literally cannot afford to get in. Okay, what value can I bring? All right, I'll do your content. I'll do your video editing. I'll do your social media. I'll build your website. You got to learn to bring value.
Yeah.
That's what
I remember doing like events. I remember I used to come and do, used to help me with my events and stuff like that. You used to just be there, back of the room, just helping out. So that added a lot of value to me. And it was, I suppose, you was on your journey in terms of you was up and coming, and no doubt surrounding yourself with the right people, because obviously there's the right type of people in that room that might have added a lot of value, right?
100%.
And on saying that, my man, I've got another event coming up this week.
Well,
I need somebody to hold some bags.
Well, listen, I'm all for helping out, but my day rate's changed now.
Yeah, I'm joking, man. I'm joking. Okay, cool. I understand. All right.
But having said that, listen, I think it doesn't matter how much money you've made or how successful you are on any given task. I think you should always remain humble. Like nothing is beneath me. Like if somebody asks, Stas, can you do the food run? Yeah, no problem. Like I have no problem in, can you sweep that up? Yeah, no problem. Like I try to have no ego. No, I'm, absolutely not. And I'll tell you where I learned that. I learned that from the managing director, the owner of Purple Parking, where I used to work for. He was a true English gentleman, this guy. He spoke the same way to the directors as he did to the cleaners. And that is, I think, is a key lesson. Just because of who you are, what position you are, treat people with respect.
What's having a mentor, what benefit have you had? What has that done for you in terms of, keeping you accountable and giving you the right direction? How has that sort of had an impact on you?
So when I was trying to make money online, trying to start a business, I'm ashamed to say, but I'll say it because I think people should hear it. I was the guy that would sign up to every freebie under the sun. Everything. If there was a free seminar, maybe I was there. Free anything, I was there. Free 30-day trial, I was there. Day 29, I'm cancelling that. And I did that for 2.5 years. And I made $7 online. It was my first ever $7. I still remember it today. Still one of the greatest feelings ever. Made me feel like a millionaire back then, because it's like, wow, somebody bought something I put up online. I drove some traffic to the worst looking website in the world, the worst looking product, and someone bought. This works. So for 2.5 years, I basically made $7, and I spent like $700 to make that $7. So it wasn't sustainable. But so that was without a mentor. That was me trying to do it on the cheap. And then I got a mentor, and then everything changed. Having a mentor, having someone to guide you, I think, is everything, really. It's kind of like a father figure, but in business. I'm very grateful to my dad has been a great father figure for me and like my personal life. But I think, he was an entrepreneur. He has his own business now, which funnily enough, I helped him set up. But having a mentor is everything. And it's just very simple. Like, you need to find someone that has achieved what you want to achieve and just get them to help you. It's not hard. Like people, and I think most people are very, I don't know if their ego gets in the way where they don't want to ask for help. They think they can do it. And the reality is, look, if you could do it, you would have already done it. You can't do it. Because if you could do it by yourself, you would have already done it. Don't kid yourself. And the only thing you're delaying and wasting is time, which you're never going to get back.
Where do you find a mentor? How do you find it? I'm in a situation, for example, like, oh man, it sounds good. I've heard, 99% of successful people have had mentors, however, where do I find a mentor?
Well, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Gumtree, Tinder. No, I'm just joking, obviously. But where do you find a mentor? It's a great question. I would first look around to see if, you're the first thing is look at your immediate circle. Who do you know that has a business? Okay. Go and see what value you can bring to them. Now, it doesn't matter if their business is completely unrelated to what you want to do, but they still have the skill set of running a business. Okay. Then ask them, okay, who did you learn from? And you just kind of got to work your way through to filter out, okay, well, which person is the person for me? That's one way to do it, okay? Your immediate network. Second way is go and attend some events. Go and attend some, whether it's free or paid, there's many conferences. I've spoken at some of the top UK marketing conferences. There is lots of amazing business people, entrepreneurs there. And I'll tell you where you're not going to find a mentor: in your bedroom. You need to get out there. That's what you got to do. That's where you're not going to find a mentor: in your bedroom. So don't just scroll online, forever trying to find a mentor. Get out there. Get out your house. Go and venture out. Get uncomfortable. Go and speak to people. Go and network. Kiss a few frogs. But eventually you'll find the mentor that's right for you.
I haven't got no money though, right? I've gone to an event, yeah? Gone to an event.
Yep.
And there is somebody offering some training for such and such price, and they will mentor me and everything like that. But I haven't got no money. Or the guy, that or the person that I've approached in my local town, I've approached them and they're willing to mentor me, but they want a certain fee for it. I haven't got no money. What do I then do?
Well, see, I used to think that, a lack of money was the problem. But that's not the case. A lack of an idea is the problem. People just lack ideas on how to generate money. They don't lack money, because if you had an idea, if I gave you £1 million idea, well, you could go and make £1 million. So, okay, I can't afford it. I found a mentor. Okay, well, what is money? What is money or currency, if you want to go that deep, right? Because I'm very big on money versus currency. Currency is a means of exchange. Now, if let's say I want training and mentoring, coaching, and I find you, but I have no money, okay, well, then there's got to be see if there's other means of exchange I can come up with. And there's the value that I'm going back to again. Okay, what value can I bring to you? Because if there is absolutely zero value I can bring to you, but I have the money, well, great. Well, then I pay to play, as I mentioned, right? Because that's the exchange. But then, okay, maybe you need someone to get your lunch for you because it's going to save you an hour a day, and an hour's of your time is worth a lot of money. Well, then, just get your foot in the door. Do whatever it takes to stay in the circle, get in the circle. If you can't buy your seat at the table, set up the table, clean the table, serve the food, wash the dishes, bring value. Because all money is a value exchange. That's all it is. Like, I'll give you a good example. So not a couple of months ago, I met this great viral video coach. And, you know, he was great at making all these videos, but didn't know how to sell online. He was struggling, didn't know how to sell online. So it's like, well, listen, we did a value exchange. I needed some help with my content, with my, virality and scripting and hooks and all the rest of that stuff. But he needed to know how to turn his expertise, turn his knowledge into a business, how to sell online, because he tried a lot of stuff, but didn't sell. So we just had a value exchange, right? But most of the time when you come to a mentor there's nothing that you have that the mentor wants. So get creative. And then usually that's where you pay the money, right? But if you don't have the money, get creative. Okay, well, what does this mentor need? So learn ways to bring value. I think understanding what value is and creating value will take you a long way. Long, long way.
Okay. So tell me something, Stas. Tell me some of the challenges of what you faced in relation to, becoming successful. I mean, it can't all just be plain sailing, just get on a slide all the way into success. Tell me some of the challenges of what you have faced and how have you dealt with some of those challenges?
Gosh, where do you start? And just to be clear, the challenges don't stop, by the way. Like, if you watching this now and you think, oh yeah, Stas has made it, he doesn't have challenges, believe me. Challenges just are different. There's challenges at every stage, okay? And there's a great saying, don't wish for less problems, wish you... Hang on. No, it wasn't. It was something like, don't wish for less problems, just wish you were better. Because all business and entrepreneurship is about solving a problem, solving a need. So if you wish for having no problems, well, you're never going to be a good business owner or entrepreneur. So don't wish for less problems or less challenges. Just wish you were better. Learn to overcome them.
So give us some examples. What are some of the challenges that you faced?
A big one was finding something to sell. I didn't know what to sell. That's a huge one. And I think that is one of the biggest things that holds people back is I don't have nothing to sell. So I'm not going to start until I have something to sell. I get it all the time. That's a huge one. The ironically is when they find something to sell, the next challenge is, I don't know if anyone's going to buy this. So having something to sell. The next challenge is limiting belief. I don't know if people are going to buy this for me. I feel like an imposter selling this. That's a huge one, imposter syndrome. And I'll tell you one thing about imposter syndrome, it never goes away. You just have different levels of imposter. Like if I walked into a room now with, I'll give you an example, right? I spoke alongside Stephen Bartlett, right? Dragon's Den. Mm-hmm. I felt like an imposter. Meeting him, speaking to him, felt like an imposter. But that's okay, because he feels like an imposter when he's on Dragon's Den, because he's the youngest there. See, we all have our levels of imposter syndrome. And you just need to learn. It's a sign of growth. That's what it is. Imposter syndrome is a sign of growth. If you don't feel like an imposter anywhere you go, well, you're clearly not going anywhere that's challenging you and growing you. So you should welcome the challenge. So going back to the challenges, something to sell. Will people buy it? I don't know if I can do this. I don't, I just can't do it. A lot of people, I just can't do it. I just don't do technology. All right. Well, if you don't do it, well, what do you want then? If you don't, you need to learn. Like, I'm sorry, again, it goes back to who do you need to become? Like you say, you need to become the person that does technology. You need to become the person that sells. I think the biggest challenge everyone needs to learn is you must learn how to sell. You have to learn how to sell. And nobody makes money. Okay. The government make money because they print it. But you and I, business owners and entrepreneurs, we exchange money. We take money. So if we take money from someone, we have to give them something in return that is worth more than the money to them. So learn to sell, learn to create value in people's lives. And if you don't think people will buy it, well, do it for free. Do it for free. Have a positive impact on people's life through your products or services, whatever you do. And then that will give you confidence. Confidence is another big one. money. I don't think marketing budget is really a challenge, because there's so many ways you can market for free these days. Like, that's not really a challenge. That's just laziness. If you think, oh, well, I haven't got money for running ads, and that's your only stumbling block, that's just lazy. So there's some of the main challenges. The other one is embarrassment. That's a big thing, because when you're starting out, like many years ago, I'm sure everyone has done some form of MLM, right?
MLM, multi-level marketing.
Multi-level marketing. I remember I borrowed £800 from my mum to invest in this MLM scheme called Agile. I don't know if you remember it. Someone might watch this. And it was like these little gels that were meant to cure cancer and, make you live till you're 200 and all the rest of it. And I was young, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds great. And there I am, oh yeah, you need to, trying to sign everyone up under the sun. And it just gets embarrassing, And I tell you why it's embarrassing, because you're trying to do something against the grain. You're trying to do something that is not what everyone else is doing. And there's a great quote. Everyone wants to do what everyone is doing, and no one wants to do what no one is doing. So when you are that no one, it's embarrassing. Like, when I was trying to grow my marketing agency, and I'm networking and knocking on doors of business owners and showing them and pitching them, and I did a pitch in front of 40 business owners regarding business automation and marketing, and I pitched £1,000 offer at the end. They laughed at me. It's embarrassing, but what are you going to do?
So tell me then, so some of the things of what you're talking about is kind of psychological, yeah? Like you've mentioned imposter syndrome. Some of the people that might be listening to this now might lack confidence, yeah? Things like that. Obviously we all have our moments. You've mentioned that you've had a similar sort of experience. So give us an idea in terms of where does it come from? Yeah. So, say for example, you've mentioned about, imposter, where in yourself do you believe that comes from and why? And how do you get over it? Like, how do you then just face it and do it anyway?
This is a great question. I'll tell you exactly. So it comes from your childhood. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
Because, so I've got 2 young kids, right? They're 6 and 4. And watching them grow is the best thing ever. And it's the most fascinating thing ever at the same time, because they believe they can do anything. They have, no fear. They are confident in everything. I'll give you an example. So the other day, I've been working a lot. I've got a project that I'm working on at the moment, and I've been working a lot, so not seeing the kids as much. So then in the morning, Jacob comes up to me and says, "Oh, here, Daddy, look, I found some money. You don't have to go work now." It's cute, right? It melts your heart. But see, they believe that, the 10p or 20p, whatever he gave me, that's money. Daddy doesn't have to go work now. So he believes he can do anything. But what happens is, as you grow up, I can't remember the exact stat, because I quoted it in my book, but the exact stat is, it's in the hundreds. The average toddler hears the word no hundreds of times a day. No, you can't do this. Don't eat that. Don't jump on there. Don't climb on that. No. That gets so deeply rooted into us. Then we're put in a box through the education system. We're made to sit in a box like everyone else and listen to instructions. And I don't know about you, but I was very scared to put my hand up in class to answer. If they did like reading out, I'm not volunteering for nothing. I was scared, and it's that fear that takes over, and all of that rises through high school, and you just grow up just wanting to fit in with everyone and not stick your head out too much, because you are so scared of getting something wrong. And that comes from school, because school teaches you that there's only one right answer. There's only one right answer, and every test that you do, every exam that you do, you're scared to get it wrong. So what happens is you grow up with that. And when you grow up, You're so scared to get it wrong, it's just easier not to even try. And that's what people do. That's, it's what I did.
And that's what carries through into adulthood.
Exactly.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Don't worry, we've got lots more content left to come. This is just a quick word from me. Now, you will hear us speak a lot about things like mentorship, as well as that, surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, one of the other things, if you really want to achieve the financial success, what makes it helpful is to have things like accountability. This can be the difference between you making it and you really not really quite getting there. Now, if you're at the start of your journey, you want to maybe leave your 9-to-5 day job, or you're just in the process of starting up a business, I would like you to come and check out our website, www.seriousaboutssuccess.com. Over the years, we have coached thousands of people all around the world. We speak on BBC Radio as their go-to guy for anything related to mentorship. It's very important for you to have that helping hand along the way. So come and check out our website, sign up for our free training, and we'll show you exactly what it takes for you to succeed. Now back to the podcast.
So it carries through into adulthood. So is that where you can see a lot of lacking in self-confidence because of that experience? You don't want to put your head above, the chopping block too much because you might be judged, right? So there's people out there that have maybe got some of these psychological barriers that has, been formed throughout childhood.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, look, I want to start a business. I want to become financially successful, but I don't want no one to know who I am. Yeah, I want to be completely anonymous. So no doubt a lot of this comes from that fear of, well, what are people going to say about me? Yeah. So you've had that. You've experienced that as per what you've just been saying. Yeah. So how do you then just feel that fear and do it anyway? Like, what is that all about?
Well, this is where I think you need a reason. Your reason to do it has to be stronger than your reason not to do it. And, until you find that reason, it's going to be difficult until you, listen and get over it. It's gonna be difficult. I'll be honest. Like you gotta find a good enough reason to do it, to turn that around. But the reality is like, I tell you where lack of confidence comes from. Confidence comes from being good at something, being, educated, being informed. So whatever you're not confident in, well, you just haven't done enough work to educate yourself to perfect that craft. So you can build it. So, the rule of 10,000 hours, it takes 10,000 hours to master a craft. So if you're not confident in starting a business, it's probably because you just have a lack of knowledge, a lack of education, a lack of network around you. So guess what? Go and get that. And then all of those things will fill you with confidence. For example, in school, what fills you with confidence going into a test? Revision.
Revision, yeah.
Right. So you just haven't revised enough to start your business. Go and do some revision. It's, but it's very simple and logical when you break it down. But the problem is fear has a way of crippling people, physically and mentally. And you just don't think straight. So go and do some revision. Like it's not rocket science.
All right. So let's just say, right, I've done some revision. I know my topic, right? I'm now about to step out on a stage, just like what you've done in front of 1,000 people. Yeah. You're now about to step out on that stage. You're backstage. You're sweating hard. Your heart is pumping and you don't want to go out there. You know your topic, but that final push, what's that? That final step, somebody may be doing that, obviously the equivalent might be somebody doing their first video and then posting it on YouTube or posting a reel on Instagram or whatever it may well be. What is that push?
I think when you come to the realization, the only person that cares about that push is you. No one cares. Like, people are busy. They don't care how you look, how you sound, what you say. You know, they'll forget you after an hour. You know, so stop living worrying about what other people think, because no one cares. Everyone's so busy. Everyone's living at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You know, they don't care. You know, look at all, and if you want an example of this, look at any celebrity, any high profile name, and, you know, the kind of, bad stuff they've done, whatever you want to call it. No one remembers it. They just remember the latest thing. For example, do you remember Apple's failed products? No, exactly. So it's the same thing, you know, it's part of the process. No one's going to remember your, you know, if you walk on stage and fall, or you stutter, or you know, fumble through your presentation, or the video sucks, or no one cares. Mm-hmm. And that's the reality. No one cares. Mm-hmm. And the only one that cares is you. So do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just do it anyway, because no one cares. Like, literally, I cannot explain this enough. No one cares. Mm-hmm. No one.
I get you. Now, look, one of the other objections that I hear on a regular basis, is, look, I'm too busy, you know, because I've got the family, I've got this, I've got my kids, I've got that. You know, you mentioned, you know, obviously you've got a couple of kids, and, you know, sometimes, you know, obviously work can take you away from spending time with the family. Now, that can be a barrier for some people, you know, in terms of, look, well, you know, I can't do the business because I've got to do this with the family, or I've got to do that with the family. However, as a business owner, sometimes, you know, you've got to do things that might take you away. How do you deal with that?
Look, this is a very difficult one. And I'll be like, you know, I kind of really started my journey when I had a 3-month-old baby and, you know, and a wife to support. And it is not easy. This is why I don't resonate with, you know, a lot of the content of, you got to get up at 5 a.m. and you got to do your cold plunge and all of this. And look, I'm not against all that, right? But if my baby has a bad night's sleep and I get 2 hours sleep, I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. I'm not doing no cold plunge, yeah? And all that is just, you know, it does help with the mental stimulation, all the rest of it. But doing cold plunges ain't going to make you money. Waking up at 5 a.m. isn't going to make you money. Doing the work is going to make you money. So, you know, if you have a family, if you have, you know, your busy schedule, you need to, well, firstly, everyone has time, more time than they think, because get your phone out, go to screen time, and see how much time you're spending on social media. That's the first thing. And I guarantee you've got at least an hour a day. An hour a day, 7 days a week, that's 7 hours. That's like a day's work. There you go. I've just found you a day's work of time. How much can you do with that time? And the other thing is, you really need to micromanage your time. I have never met anyone who is successful that is not good at time management, because time is the real currency. We exchange our unit of time for something, whether that's browsing, whether that's educating. Simple changes, you know, simple things, simple tweaks. Kids go to bed, Netflix or webinar or book. You know what I mean? Simple. If you woke up just 1 hour earlier a day, just 1 hour. I'm not saying you got to do it straight away. Start 15 minutes. 15 minutes earlier, do that for 5 days. Within 5 days, you're waking up an hour earlier, okay? Give or take. An hour earlier for 7 days. You've got 7 hours on everyone. Over the course of the year, I mean, you do the maths, right? That's a lot of time. There you go. So again, you got to get creative. You got to find ways to make time. Like, it's not easy for me. You know, thankfully, I've got, you know, to a stage where, you know, I have more time and I choose to how I spend it. But I've been through, you know, periods where, you know, you're working 18 hours a day because that's whatever it takes. Because I know that I am the breadwinner and I need to provide. And, you know, it's like, you know, I want to spend time with my kids, but do I want to spend time with my kids in a lovely home, or do I want to spend time with them in a homeless shelter? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Did you have any sort of challenges? Because obviously you've been in a partnership, and I was talking to somebody yesterday, yeah, and one of the big things were, Jay, my partner, is on my case. I'm trying to get there, I'm trying to get started, but my partner doesn't always understand, that entrepreneur mindset. So, have you ever been in a situation where you've struggled or had that challenge where maybe your partner or your family, mum, dad, or people around you haven't always really fully understood the level of commitment that is required for you now to get to where it is that you are now?
Yeah, I'll explain it in this way. So I heard this from Alex Hormozy, so shout out to him. And he said that in a relationship, there's two dynamics, right? You're either in the playing field and your partner's on the sidelines cheering you on, or actually three. Actually, I'm going to add my own third one. You're either in the playing field, on the battlefield, and your partner's on the sidelines cheering you on, or you're both in the playing field. Now, if you're on the sidelines cheering that person on, you will never, ever experience the same level of emotion, anxiety. You won't go through, you won't understand, and you won't fully appreciate what goes into being in the playing field, on the battlefield. So trying to get your partner involved as much as possible is what I would say, so that you're both in the playing field, okay? Because then they'll actually start to appreciate, wow, I didn't realize this is all you got to do. Wow. Then they have a new level of appreciation. And then you end up building together. I think you've got to build a shared vision, because a lot of times what happens with relationships is there's two visions, and one's going over this east and one's going west. But the third dynamic, and this is where, I see a lot of people, is the partner's in the battlefield, but the partner's in the car park, nowhere to be seen. And they're like, yeah, I'm just going to go and play this game. And because there's such a big disconnect, they're in a car park, they have no idea what's going on the game. So the key is to have shared vision, shared goals, shared aspirations of where you want to go, and don't kid yourself. Oh yeah, one day when our numbers come up, yeah, we'll get there. You've got to really, work on it together. Okay. That's what I would say. You've got to. I think if you don't have a shared vision, shared goals, shared that destination that you're striving towards, it's going to be very difficult, because your partner, and this works both ways. This isn't, just any one way. This works both ways. So you got to find that shared vision.
Okay, cool. So have you ever, or no doubt you probably have, experienced maybe negativity online, backlash when you're doing things, you're doing webinars, people jumping in the chat, you put out content, people just got to just, just be. We live in a society nowadays where it's just like, it's just so much people are just so many haters, it's like, look, all you're trying to do is build a business and do your own thing. But no matter what you're doing, I done a podcast with obviously, Rick and, and I was talking to him about this, and, he's educating people on how to get a job. And if you read some of the comments, you'll still have people saying, one of the things that was quite funny, it looks like Agent 47, from the game Hitman. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That did make me chuckle, yeah. But, other things were, oh yeah, but, we're not all like you. Oh, we're not. It's like, well, hang on a minute. I'm trying to help you get a job. Like what more can I possibly do? So, you could be, trying to find the cure for cancer. Like, you're still going to get some people, no matter what, talking shit, ultimately, like you can't get away from it. So what's your experience been like with that, and how have you dealt with that?
Oh yeah, I've had loads.
Yeah.
I've had loads. I mean, the biggest one, I'm not being funny, is where I was born. Not exactly born in the most popular nationality on the planet, am I? But you'd never think it speaking to me, because I sound like I'm from London. So that's, that's a big, I've had lots of abuse about that, loads. But I tell you how you deal with it, right? You deal with it. No one more successful than you is ever going to hate on you. Ever. Like, do you see, I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg hating on Bezos? Oh yeah, look, yeah, Amazon sucks. Yeah, yeah, you just put out a crap product. Oh, your numbers are down this quarter, loser. Doesn't happen. So that's the first thing. No one ever more successful than you is ever gonna, hate on you or give you any kind of stuff. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I'll tell you why people hate. Because it makes them feel better about themselves. Think about it. Anytime you've ever seen somebody achieve something that you want but maybe don't have, what's the first human reaction to that?
Jealousy.
And you search for an excuse why you don't have it, and that leads to hate. And that's all it is. It's just a self-defense mechanism. So listen, I'd say if you don't have enough haters, you're doing something wrong. You need more haters. Let them hate. They're only hating because they're jealous, because it's a self-defense mechanism. It's an excuse as to why they're not in your position.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Look, we're nearly at the end, yeah? We're not far away, yeah? But before we get there, question for you. Around the internet, on, places like Instagram, you see people that are, they may or may not be successful or whatever, but they're flossing the glitz, the glamour. All you've got to do is when you make money, this is like, put your feet up, life is good. I've got the supercar outside, I've got this, I've got the chicks, I've got the bling, I've got everything. Oh man, like this is it. This is bliss. I'm living the life.
Supposedly.
Is that real? Is that real?
Here's what you gotta ask yourself. So remember when you was at school and you always had that one guy who was, always like, oh yeah, I can get any girl. I get lots of girls. I got all these numbers, this, that, and the other, right? You remember that? There was always
that guy.
Always that guy, or, I'm sure there's a female equivalent, right? And we always boast about our pain points. And let me give you a better example, okay? There was always that one guy who's, oh yeah, I'm making lots of money. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and he makes out like he's making loads of money. But time goes by and you find out actually he's not making no money. So what people shout about is usually what their biggest problem is. So if you have to shout about your cars and your bling and whatever else, well, clearly I kind of look at that and be like, all right, clearly this person's obviously not doing that well because they need to shout about it, because then you're seeking external validation. I don't need to, I've got all those things untold. I don't need to shout out about it. When I bought my first supercar, did I release a video about it on the first day? It took me 6 months because I wasn't that bothered. I bought it for me, because it made me feel special when I'm driving it, when I'm in it. I don't need external validation and likes and all the rest of it. But unfortunately, online, these things have become marketing tools, and everyone assumes that just because somebody has a Lambo and maybe has gone to Dubai a couple of times, or has some bling, they're successful. And that couldn't be further from the truth, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because one thing of what I've experienced is, I remember the days, right? Going to loads of events and like, yeah, I want to be successful, and like the pictures.
I'll tell you a story, a real quick one.
Yeah, go for it.
So on that note, and this is how you are, listen, I don't argue with anyone. I don't argue with anyone. But I bought my first Rolex because I thought I needed to have it so people think I'm successful. So I think everyone goes through that stage. Where you're seeking a little bit of external validation. I think everyone goes through that stage.
Yeah, no doubt. But I would see all of the pictures, like geez, and you're there, you're in the audience, you're in the audience, you're looking up, you see the pictures, you're seeing a yacht, you're seeing the car, you're seeing everything, the lifestyle, everything looks so sunny, like it's always sunshine, right? But then when you kind of get there and you experience that, it becomes very normal. And it's almost like, well, hang on a minute. I don't feel no real difference. I still got challenges. I still might have this. It might be different types of challenges. but it's not like what I thought it would be as per what was sold, that it's like the other side of the rainbow, the other side of the rainbow. Once I get on the other side of the rainbow, that's it. So I felt once achieving a level of success, that sunny rainbow, you get the supercar, now I'm supposed to be, I'm now supposed to be happy every day of my life. I didn't feel that way. The novelty wore off. So I almost felt like as if the pictures and everything of what we see, that, life's so, oh, geez, it's not real. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think I agree. Look, money does make you happy, but temporarily. Because then you got to go searching for true happiness, and that comes from within. Being content, being happy with who you are, where you are and what you have around you. But if you're broke, you're never going to have the time to even search for that. So I think, they're all good temporal things, but they fade away. Like, they make you feel special and make you feel happy temporarily, but once that's passed, then what? Like, I tell you what makes me feel happy is my kids, my family. That is true happiness. That is purpose. That is fulfillment. Having a supercar or whatever it may be, or bling, or, whatever, that's nice. And listen, I love my toys. Don't get me wrong. You know me, I love my toys, right? But I understand that they only make me temporarily happy. A new car, right? 3 months, 6 months. But my family, children, and just being happy within myself. I tell you what else makes me happy: freedom. I am completely free. Completely free. That gives me the greatest satisfaction. More so than the bling and the toys. Because there's a whole nother conversation, but it's how you achieve the things as well. Because if you're hustling like crazy just to afford the Lambo, just so you can look successful, you're crazy. Like, you're crazy. Like, like what for? I believe the number one goal for most people, the first big goal should be to achieve financial independence.
Yeah.
That's the first big goal. But before that, like, you need to create your own economy. You need to be independent from everything else that's going on. You need to have your own way of making money. You need to have your own ecosystem. That is the biggest thing, because I've seen people get laid off. I got laid off. It's not nice. But what happens is people build up a lifestyle based on their salary. Salary goes up, the expenses go up. Then they get laid off. They've got, maybe kids, maybe no kids, bills, mortgages, rent, whatever else, and they have no other income. And that, leads a spiral down, a whole nother way. So listen, you got to search for true happiness within. That's kind of it. But I think you will never get to that stage until you become financially independent.
Yeah.
And you buy all the things that you want. Because growing up, I couldn't have a lot. Like, I remember going to charity shops and car boot sales every weekend. It was always like, money don't grow on trees, this, that, and the other. And I think it got so deep inside of me. Now that I can have pretty much anything I want, I do have it. But I've bought so many things for myself, and it's the same thing every time. You're in anticipation. You're excited to get it. Yes, it's great. You get it. It's fantastic. It feels good. 3 months go by. It just fades. It just fades.
Yeah.
Then you get another thing, thinking it's the other thing, and then that fades.
Yeah.
And you get another thing. So you gotta, gotta.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said freedom. Because becoming financially free, what it gives you is freedom. And that freedom to be able to have fantastic experiences with your family, go on holidays, do this, do that. Obviously, I'm always taking my little girl on holidays, just me and her, she's 10 years old at the moment, and we just always just go like, probably maybe 3-4 times a year, and being able to just do that, just me and her, is beautiful, is an absolutely wonderful experience. And obviously, the experiences. So I agree, now I'll never knock it. It's nice to have nice things. However, ultimately, the freedom and the experiences is what it's really all about. Yeah, we do agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. And some people are more materialistic than others.
Yeah.
All my friend circle sound very materialistic, and I'd agree with that. But I tell you where I think it comes from: childhood. Because I couldn't have the things I wanted to have. And I think it got so deep rooted inside me. It's like this anger. It's like, what do you mean I can't have it? So now, if I want something, I'll get it. But I've got over that. Now that I've kind of bought everything that I've wanted and, all the rest of it, now it's about freedom. It's about independence. That is true happiness. Waking up when you want, doing what you want. If I want to go and pick up my kids from school, one of my big goals, one of my big visions was way before I even had kids. I said, I want to be able to take my kids to school and pick them up from school any day I want. And I can do that. But it's just something as simple as that. And I think freedom is
where it's at.
Where it's at. Absolutely.
Okay. So look, final question, my man. Yeah, you've given me a lot of your time today, Stas, and I do very much appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy.
Quick tip for anyone watching this: the greatest financial book on independence, The Richest Man in Babylon.
I know you love that book. You've been talking to me about that book for many years. In fact, I got that on audiobook. I've listened to it. I did listen to it off the back of you, and yeah, I like the book.
I've reread it and re-listened to it 7 times now, and I continue to at least 2-3 times a year, because the wisdom in that book is the greatest I've ever read.
Experience. I get it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, cool. Look, final question. Like I say, you've given me a lot of your time now. I appreciate you, my man. I really genuinely do. Right. You're starting out fresh. You've got a day job. You're still there. I want success. I want to become financially free. What's the first thing you do? That's a deep breath there, my brother.
Because there's multiple parts to that answer. The first thing is, look, go and search for your reason why. Because if you, like you said, if you have a day job, you've got the safety net. So what's your reason why? Why do you want to get rid of this lovely, comfortable safety net? Okay, that's the first thing. Go and find your reason why. The second thing is, I think that just going and starting a business on your own with no money and no help, which that's how most people are, is very difficult. Very difficult. And usually it just leads to you getting a job again. What I think a smarter thing to do is go and shadow someone and offer your services for free to an individual, a business, an organization, an entrepreneur that you want to be like. Because you will learn so much more, working alongside them. And, it's worth way more than your time. And you will build relationships, connections, knowledge off the back of that, which you can then easily step into your own business. It's a little bit like an apprenticeship. If I wanted to become a plumber, I wouldn't go to plumbing school personally. I would go and find a plumber who needs assistance. And I say, listen, I want to be a plumber eventually one day. I'm willing to work for you for free. And what you'll find is once you show your value enough, they'll probably start paying you anyway. And you might say, oh, well, yeah, but I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to be this. Listen, there's you got to be patient, delayed gratification. I tell you, you have to, because and learn from that experience. There's a good example. I think Gary Vaynerchuk had it. A video guy offered to work for him for free for a whole year. He learned, how much was that worth to the guy? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because what he learned from Gary, he can then go and use in his own business. The connections he made from Gary, the network he built from Gary. And imagine if he tried to do it on his own. Don't do it on your own. Like, don't think you are smarter than, and again, it comes back to ego. So if I was starting again, day job, find your reason why. Find your reason why. Because as you know, we've seen many people come through and disappear off into the, shadows and never to be seen again. Find your reason why. Number 2, go and find business, organization, entrepreneur who you can work in part-time, offer your services, learn skills. This is if you don't have the money. If you have the money, listen, just go and find that same organization and invest. Like, everyone talks about investing and this, that, and the other. I personally don't think you should be, thinking about investing any kind of money until you're making at least £5,000 a month consistently. And even then, I don't even know if I'd even think about it then. Really, your number one goal should be learning skills and knowledge to get you to 10,000 a month.
So investing in yourself, you mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you are the greatest investment you can make. You tell me, where else can you invest, I don't know, £1,000 to learn the skills that will make you $5,000, $10,000, or you invest £10,000 in yourself. But what you've learned in that £10,000, you've then gone on to make £100,000. I invested, my last program, my last big investment was $30,000. $30,000. But what I learned from that has enabled me to make $100,000 in a month. Where else can you get that kind of level of return? Stock market, go and study the charts. Crypto, yeah, if you're lucky, but invest in yourself, the number one priority. It's all about personal growth.
Excellent. Love it. Stas, my brother, anything else you want to mention at all? Anything else? This is your final chance, man. Like, anything else?
About what specifically?
Just whatever. Anything else you want to get out there to the world? Anything else you want to say about yourself?
No.
You've been hitting the gym, yeah? You're looking kind of hench nowadays.
No,
yeah?
Well, it's no secret, the more money you make, you take more pride in your appearance, because I think I've become disciplined to do the exercise and delay gratification, not expect a 6-pack in a month, and all the rest of it. Not that I have a 6-pack now, but you know what I'm trying to say. If you want to know more about me, well, listen, just go and find me online. It's not hard.
There you go. So where can people find you then, Stas?
Instagram is probably the best way.
Yeah. What should they Google? What should they
just Google my name,
yeah,
Stas Prokofiev, or my book. You can get my book. It's free. It's called Knowledge Worth Millions. That's a good starting point. But what I would say to people is, the thing you are avoiding the most right now is probably the thing you need to do the most. And we all have them. I have them. You have them. Everyone has them. So whatever you are, sit down, look yourself in the mirror, no one, just you, and think, what am I avoiding the most right now? Is it making that content, making that video? Is it investing in that program? Is it, making that phone call? Is it, trying to close that client? Whatever that is you are avoiding the most is exactly what you need to do the most right now.
Love it, my man. Love it.
So, yeah.
Stas, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
We will speak,
appreciate it.
No doubt, very soon. I'll probably have you back on the podcast at some point. You've got some great points. I'll have you back on. We'll have a bit more of a chit chat.
Anytime. I love this stuff. It's once you've been through it, it's you feel like you've got a lot to share. And
for sure.
I just love sharing.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank
Stas,
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.